All right, welcome to another episode from the Chart Readers. I have not done the psychedelic sector in a long time. I honestly have not been looking at these, but there was definitely a very nice movement in January. Before we get into the details, what are we going to do today? Same thing we always do, right? We'll take a look at the daily and the weekly to see how things are going. We have our five moving averages, these horizontal support and resistance lines that I do draw manually myself. And then when we're done up here, we'll use the MACD, RSI, and volume as our lower indicators. Hey, really quickly, if you can please like and subscribe, it does really well with the YouTube algorithms. Nonetheless, I sincerely appreciate your time, and I'm very much glad you're here. If you disagree with anything, hey, let me know. Throw it in the comments, all right? I would much rather you tell me than me lose some money in the market, right? So kind of a two-way street here. But nonetheless, let's get into the details, all right? Again, super nice run in January. And I'll be honest, I often say if you watch my weed videos that weed does not move with the NASDAQ. I don't know if these like psychedelics moved with NASDAQ because maybe there's a little more science there. Because again, the way I see weed, it's look literally like farm. I mean, it literally is farming, right? You're growing a crop, you're harvesting the crop, you're taking it to a store. There's nothing less tech than that whole thing right there, right? These have a little more like therapeutic testing. These might kind of fall a little more into the medicine world. And I also know that weed definitely falls into the medicine world and all that, right? But I don't know. I'm just kind of trying to justify why this went up with NASDAQ, even though again, when I associate weed, I don't do that with NASDAQ, right? So again, my 2 cents there. Feel free to give me some opposing views there. But look, after breaking these moving averages, riding the 8 for a while, there's a little bit to be worried here, okay? I often say what I rarely want is this is a bad candle to take more than 50%, all right? Roughly, and I'm not looking for 100%, right? But look, that's about half of this thing, right? And I know this looks like a devastating candle, but hey, it at least didn't take 50%. You know what I mean? So that's one way of kind of like gauging bullishness versus bearishness, okay? And then look, hey, it actually does pretty well the day after, right? Couldn't really overtake the whole red, but it actually got over that red, that whole candle, right? Like this thing closes a little higher. That's actually a good thing, right? From there, look, this next one actually takes a little more than half, right? Because I would say half is about there. It definitely, almost takes like 70% and leaves us about 30% left, right? And then clearly the next one after actually overtakes that whole thing. And again, not quite takes 50% of this one, but I mean, it's basically there, right? I'm not too sure if the 8, because again, look at this thing, right? It does a good job of breaking the 8. I wouldn't necessarily call that a bounce. That was more of a wick, right? But right here, it does a little bounce. Right here, it kind of goes parallel. And then again, it's able to go up. I'm just not sure we're bouncing there. This is a decent point where it might. There at least is a line, but I'm gonna be honest. I haven't like made these videos or watched these stocks in a while, so we're gonna delete these lines and probably make some new ones. Let me actually just go ahead and do that real quick. But hey, you can at least see it was pretty good, right? The run comes to this 350 that I had a long time ago. I imagine if I zoom out, it was. Yeah, for sure. It was actually where the peak of the gap, right? So yeah, that 350 is a huge line. I'm going to move it up actually. And look, actually, is this where it takes off right there from three? Yeah, the lowest three. Yeah, you gotta love that. I'm gonna, oops, come on, don't lag on me. I'm gonna move it to the top of this right now. Okay, so our new line is actually there. 370. I'm gonna have to redraw that. Sorry about that. Delete all the lines. Oh damn, there were 16 lines. Jesus. I'll draw one right here. Like I said, the peak of this one. I'm no longer referencing the gap because again, this was the gap resistance that it broke, right? Honestly, it's just we're now kind of coming where the major markets are slowing down, and I always say no stocks are better than the major markets, right? So can't be too surprised that these are slowing down. But hey, beautiful profits were definitely made if you were riding this, right? But yeah, back to making some lines and then just getting into, oh yeah, for sure. I do like that line. Look at that gap though. I mean, that's if it ever does break, that'll be beautiful. That's for sure. Interesting. This is actually a good weekly chart, right? So you break it right here. You definitely go horizontal. And I mean, this isn't a horrible weekly candle. Obviously, I wish it filled a little higher and kind of came up to here. But I mean, hey, we are continuing an uptrend, right? Volume did improve. RSI is actually kind of going back up. And MACD looks like it's continuing at zero. So definitely some real interesting things. I'm going to actually put a line here, and then that's what's going to gauge my alert. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and set an alert for basically 405. Let me know if we can get over that peak, because obviously, again, I'm going to just zoom out right here. I can even go ahead and do it. We still have so much gap to fill, right? Honestly, like I said, I don't think this 8's going to do it. Hopefully this 357 is strong enough to bounce. The worst thing that would happen is we actually come down here, right? I'll draw this line. Yeah, I mean, that's definitely close enough to this. I feel like if we're going to come here, we're probably going to already come there. And look, I often say it, right? When you get like red, 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 red down, you can definitely get green, green, green up. This green, green, green up, if it falls, I mean, honestly, I'm going to delete this line. There's really no reason to have it. Because look, again, green, 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 green here. If you lose it here, we'll probably go red, 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 probably to this 50. I don't know. These two will probably catch up and basically become a cluster, I'm sure, by the time it gets here. It should take a couple days, right? But yeah, I can see 305, give or take, being where it's definitely critical, because this whole thing is roughly speaking a green, 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 right? So it actually could fall that low, and I will have to draw a line right there as well. Cool. Let me come to the weekly. That would put us at all-time lows, right? Yeah. So yeah, I mean, this is the line setup. I guess I'll draw one more, just to have it. We'll use that. No, yeah, we'll use that one. Okay, cool. Look, 305 is where I set my alert. An alert is not immediate buy, right? An alert is, hey, come check it out. But there's a lot of reason to believe if you break 403, you're basically coming to 9, right? You would run. Come on, don't lag, baby. There we go. You should run to 845, right? I mean, if you break the 20, you break the 50. That's how moving averages work, right? And we've now broken the 8 and the 20, so 50 should be the next one on the horizon, right? Again, this is a surprisingly bullish weekly chart, but this is definitely, look at the volume just constantly go down, right? So this has actually been pretty horizontal, but look, that was up. This is definitely down. It was starting to go up, but overall, this is definitely going down, right? So, just a couple things that are making me say, hey, daily might be rough, but if this thing can get a good bounce, this thing could fly. So, and really, this 3 should be pretty hard to lose. But yeah, I actually really wish I was making more of these videos earlier, because there was definitely a nicer run than I expected here. Let's take a look at CYBN. Oh, interesting. Okay, actually, look at that. So same basic peak, and then this thing just look. I can't believe I forgot about CYBN, but CYBN loves the 8 moving average. When it's over it, it kills it. When it's under it, it's scary. Little run right out, but scary under it. And then look at this thing right here. Man, I can't believe I stopped looking at these. But this thing literally ran all the way to the top. Clearly, this break of the 100 was fake, right? Because there was no second day confirmation, right? And from there, all it really did was just kind of go with or well under it, right? So, yeah, it tried to ride the 8 over it, but definitely couldn't get over the 100, right? Sometimes the lines are like planets, right? It's trying to stay over it, but it's now falling into this one's orbit, right? And they're just kind of they're bouncing on each other, right? But yeah, overall, I'm actually seeing more bad than good. Clearly, look at what good volume does here, but since that, it's just been really, really ugly volume, except for this little smidge right here, right? But the last few have been pretty bad. This MACD looks like it wants to go back to negative. And again, it went from really nicely up to definitely going downward. I think just what we saw in Mind Medicine, I can't imagine good things here. What does the weekly look like though? Not as good a weekly, and definitely has to make me not as happy, right? But Look at this wick, right? It actually, someone was able to sell at the top and fill most of this gap all the way to right here, right? Like that's kind of a beautiful thing, right? I literally just said it earlier. Red, 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 red will quickly turn into green, 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 green that way, right? So someone, you can see again the volume right there, definitely rode the 8 ball all the way up. So beautiful thing, actually. But yeah, I think going with the mind medicine, and look, I actually didn't even notice it, but you have all 5 lines going in a horizontal cluster, and this is definitely at the bottom side of the cluster too, right? So, yeah, it would be very bad to lose this because you will drop to the 30 cent, I think, pretty quickly because that green, green, green up is very quickly red, red, red down, right? So I'll draw this line though. It hopefully will get stopped at the top, not at the bottom. I think that's a good 32 cent line. So a little pessimistic here for sure, but definitely a nice run was had. So hey, if you disagree with anything, please let me know. Have a great one.